Morning! Today is day 18. I'm leaving Queenstown, getting, of course, the late start, but today's a rather civilized walk into Araroa. I've already booked a room, and I guess there's some civilization along the way, and I just really needed the rest and the mental rest to continue, not for today. It's the stretch after that by all accounts is beautiful, but it's steep, up and down, up and down, up and down. So while it's supposed to get nicer, it's also supposed to get harder. And I just want to give a major shout out to Vineet at the Melbourne Lodge, which is where I stayed last night, and he was amazingly helpful. It was a nice place, the room was great. It's a little bit up a steep hill to get in and out of town, but otherwise I just highly recommend that place, and thanks so much for your service. In fact, I found a lot of helpful people here in Queenstown pointing me out where to go and what to do, and it's been really lovely. See you on the trail. Hello from rainy Araroa. I finally made it here. It was harder than I expected. That should be my motto, and I should know that will always be the case. Just because the navigation was quite confusing and you just had to constantly check stuff, and sometimes I think my GPS little marker on the map hadn't moved yet, and so I assumed I was further back than I was and kept going, etc. And it was 29 kilometers, so that's a long distance. And I do have food for the next section, so my pack was heavy. And I accidentally brought the key with me from the last place, and I got a call saying, "Oh, do you have the key?" And I was like, "Oh, yes I do." So I've just posted it in this quaint post box, and I'll get back to them. And I'm waiting for my dinner over at the lovely New Orleans motel. See you later. Hello! Today is day 19. I've left Arrowtown. It was very good to get there last night. I ate a nice big meal, had a nice room. And today I'm trying to, for the first bit, instead of doing the big hill track, which I guess has great views, but I don't really want to do a great big hill. I'm gonna follow the Macetown 4-wheel drive track, well, from Arrowtown to Macetown, which may require a couple of fording the river. I talked to a few people, they think that'll be fine today. Right now it's a walking tracks beside it, but that will peter out at some point. And then from there we'll see. If I'm too tired, or don't think I can make the next leg in time, then I will just camp there and get to Rose's hut the next day. I have a lot of daylight, so we'll see how I feel in Macetown. Bye for now. The Arrow River. I made it to Macetown. I did have to cross the Araroa River a few times, but it was never very deep or too fast. Just very, very cold. And it looks like there might be another crossing. Or maybe that would be after the campsite, not sure. So there's a campsite here, it shows. The toilet and all. Here's the other sign. And there isn't really much to see. Old mounds. Potentially an old fence or wall, I should say. So I've decided to camp here in Macetown, historic Macetown. And it's an absolutely lovely spot. Got a stream nearby. And you look at all these lupins, all these flowers. Just gorgeous. And there are a couple more trampers who are going along the same track tomorrow, and I've decided to camp as well. And they alerted me to this spot because there's a toilet across the stream. Hello from historic Macetown. And yeah, they're a bit of sandflies. I didn't think they were bad, but because I put up a tent and sat there for a bit, of course they found me. And yes, so I'm camping here. It's only 4.5 hour day in, and quite lovely in a way. But I just, at some point, I kind of made the decision that I'd be really seriously rushing, and I don't know how I'm going to do on the next section. So I just slowed down and I talked to various people in four-wheel drive, a couple who were on their honeymoon, and some other people just doing a day hike here, and just didn't rush anymore. And yeah, this is lovely. So I'll have a nice afternoon and early dinner and read what's up next. And so this is a little bit of a rest day, a little bit of a mental rest day, probably too, because I've been very anxious about this next section, which is by all accounts beautiful but very steep. So yeah, I think it'll be good. And I will see you later. And I got new shoes. New shoes in Queenstown. I have a few extra pair of my green ones. I much prefer the green. This is like the updated version. The shoe I've been wearing. Mine, others were quite ripped, but the soles were fine, so this is kind of a test. If I get a chance, I may stitch these areas, for example, with some floss, just to preempt them from ripping in the first place. I don't know, maybe this track will be fine, but Southland definitely ate up my other shoes.